Compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. The notice requirements have been satisfied as to the time, place, and date of holding said meeting by posting notice on the bulletin board here in Borough Hall and by mailing and emailing same to the Herald of Cape May County on October 4th, 2023, and the Press of Atlantic City on December 13th, 2023. In the event of an emergency, your emergency exit is our front left, your back right, the door you came in, or our front right, your front left, just by the American flag. This meeting is being shown live here today on the borough's Facebook and YouTube channel. If you want to ask or make a public comment or ask a question, you're welcome to dial our conference line. That number is 888-363-4734, and when prompted, you're going to enter the access code 9699020, followed by the pound or the hashtag. If you watch the recorded version, you're more than welcome to email our clerk at clerk@wildwoodcrest.org or phone her at 609-729-8040. Looks like we have three ordinances on the agenda today. Madam Clerk, take it away.
That's correct. The first is ordinance 1424 regarding paid parking zones.
Motion that ordinance number 1424 be placed on second reading and final passage by title only.
Second that?
It has been moved and seconded that ordinance number 1424 be placed on second and final reading by title only.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Ordinance 1424 reads as follows. An ordinance of the Borough of Wildwood Crest amending and supplementing Chapter 47 parking meters of the Code of the Borough of Wildwood Crest to consolidate parking meter zones to a single paid parking zone and to further define and regulate the use of web-based parking systems.
Motion that a public hearing now be held on ordinance number 1424.
I can second that.
It's been moved and seconded that a public hearing on ordinance number 1424 now be held.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes. Floor is open for any public comment on ordinance number 1444. Come on up to the podium. Just need your name, no address, please.
Good morning. My name is Joe Placchino. Just a couple questions, and it's probably covered somewhere else, but on paragraph 47.1, the hours of period of operation, it says it's to be determined by the resolution of the Board of Commissioners, but it doesn't state where that is. Maybe that is somewhere else.
It's in the resolution. So it's annually, May 15th through September 15th.
Okay. May
And I
15th.
can get you a copy of the resolution.
Okay, what about the actual hours during the day?
As far as what?
That was one of my questions,
As far as enforcement is concerned?
Yes.
Chief, is that 10 a.m. to
8 a.m. to 10 p.m.
8 a.m.
Oh.
to 10?
Okay, so that's 14 hours. And this is what I'm really getting at is in 47.9, it says that it's not to exceed a maximum of 8 hours a day to be parked there lawfully. And the zone that you've defined from Atlantic Avenue east over to the beach has a lot of business during that May to September timeframe. There are homes that rent. There are condominiums that rent. There's going to be multiple cars that don't have parking spaces within their driveways or the hotels. So people are going to have to park somewhere. And I'm suggesting that the hours of lawfully parked at 8 hours a day match the period of time that you said from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. And that way somebody can park for, lawfully. They'll have to pay for it. But why not align those two time frames? Because we're going to have people from out of town that are visiting, that are renting in our community. And that's basically what I'm suggesting, that those two periods be aligned.
Okay.
So it would be 47, paragraph 9 that would need to be modified to match if you choose to do so.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any comments?
Sounds reasonable. Let's take a look at it. Thank you for pointing that out.
Okay, so any other public comment from anybody here in the audience? Hearing none, we'll go to the conference line. Anybody have any public comments on ordinance number 1424? Hearing none?
Motion that a public hearing on ordinance number 1424 now be closed.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded that the public hearing on ordinance number 1424 now be closed.
Roll call, Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes, Madam Clerk, in light of the public comment, do we want to table the adoption of this ordinance so that the police department can take a look at that? Yes, sir.
If I may, Mayor, I think by resolution, after the ordinance is adopted, you can just change the times the governing body can.
You can do that via resolution, the times you want.
I think that's the way to go, in my opinion, and this way we can come back and you guys have an opportunity, if you have a problem with it, to voice your opinion. As long as the chief's okay with it, then I'm okay with it.
I'll
With
do
the
whatever
times.
the governing body decides.
That's fine with me. I don't know if the mayor agrees with that.
Yeah, that's fine, I mean, that's fine. Ron, is that, so from an ordinance standpoint versus a resolution, are we good there?
Well, your resolution controls when the times are going to be enforced.
Right.
So in other words, the meters are on, so to speak, from 8 to 10 p.m. The limitation on the hours you can park in any one area, that's a time limit parking. That could be 2 hours, you got to move the cars, give other people opportunity to park, or you let the same car occupy the same space for a 24-hour period would be the max, day after day. So this was already in the ordinance, I'd point that out as well. That's not something that this amendment changes. That 8-hour number was there prior, that's what we've been living with for some time now. So to change the 8 hours, you can't park more than 8 hours in any one spot. That would need to be changed by ordinance. That's not subject to a resolution. Resolution is only for the enforcement periods.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay, we
Are you
good?
happy with keeping this?
Yes, I just want to make sure we had a clarification on,
Thank you.
so the
That's good.
the resident has a clear answer as to where the direction of the governing body's going. Okay. Somebody want to make the motion?
Excuse me, yep. Motion that ordinance number 1424 be passed on second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Second that?
Been moved and seconded that ordinance number 1424 be passed on second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Roll call, Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next, we have ordinance 1425 regarding EV charging stations.
Motion that ordinance number 1425 be placed on second reading and final passage by title only.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that ordinance number 1425 be placed on second and final reading by title only.
Roll call, Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Ordinance 1425 reads as follows. An ordinance of the Borough of Wildwood Crest, amending and supplementing Article 11 of Chapter 79 Vehicles and Traffic of the Code of the Borough of Wildwood Crest to regulate publicly accessible electric vehicle charging stations.
Motion that a public hearing now be held on ordinance number 1425. Questions?
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded that a
Bless
public
you.
hearing on ordinance on number 1425 now be held.
Roll call, Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes. Floor is open for any public comment on ordinance number 1425, EV charging stations.
Hi, Catherine, just a local. I was just curious where they will be located. Are they at the new Arts Building? Is that the only place?
There'll be 4 units at the Arts Building, yes.
Okay.
That's, for now, that's all we're doing.
Okay, and they're just for a standard car, they're not for like...
They're fast
the-
chargers.
They're not for LSVs or anything, are they?
They're fast chargers, they can be used for anything, Teslas, whatever it's uniform, but they are fast chargers, they're the 20-minute to 30-minute
Okay, so they're not used for a low-speed vehicle?
Yeah, when you say low speed, you're talking about a golf cart?
Golf
cart.
carts,
Yeah,
yes.
no.
They're
Carts
not
have a
used for
plug,
those?
different kind of plug.
Different kind of
Okay,
plug.
just curious,
Yep.
thank you.
Anybody else, public comment? EV charging stations, ordinance number 1425. Anybody on the conference line, public comments on ordinance number 1425? Hearing none?
Motion that a public hearing on ordinance number 1425 now be closed.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded that the public hearing on ordinance number 1425 now be closed.
Roll call, Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Can I get a motion?
Excuse Motion that ordinance number 1425 be passed on second and final reading and advertised according to law.
I'll second that.
It has been moved and seconded that ordinance number 1425 be passed on second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Roll call, Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next, we have ordinance 1426 regarding the cap bank.
Motion that ordinance number 1426 be placed on second reading and final passage by title only.
I'll second that.
It has been moved and seconded that ordinance number 1426 be placed on second and final reading by title only.
Roll call, Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Ordinance 1426 reads as follows. An ordinance to establish cap bank for calendar year 2024 pursuant to NJSA 40A:4-45.14.
Motion that a public hearing now be held on ordinance number 1426.
I'll second it.
It has been moved and seconded that a public hearing on ordinance number 1426 now be held.
Roll call, Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes. Floor is open for public comment on ordinance number 1426, establishing the cap bank. Hearing none,
Motion that a public hearing on ordinance number 1426 now be closed.
Second that.
it has been moved and seconded that a public hearing on ordinance number 1426 now be closed.
Roll call, Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Motion that ordinance number 1426 be passed on second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Second that also.
It has been moved and, been moved and seconded that ordinance number 1426 be passed on second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Roll call, Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next, we have the resolutions. The first is opposing the state of New Jersey's new proposed shore protection rule.
I'll motion that.
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call, Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is canceling erroneous 2024 sewer rents in the amount of $124 for property located at 7201 Ocean Avenue.
Motion.
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call, Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing expenditure to resurface the tennis courts contract under the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Program for the Public Works Department.
Motion that.
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call, Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing approval of change order number 3, final, and accepting work performed, and authorizing the release of performance bond and accepting maintenance bond for the reconstruction of Syracuse Avenue, fiscal year 2022 NJDOT municipal aid, and decreasing the contract amount by $8,813.89 for a revised contract amount of $2,236,722.36.
It's a lot of numbers. Motion.
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call, Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing award of professional services contract for special counsel for general legal services pertaining to public utility law at the not-to-exceed sum of $5,000.
Motion.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call, Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing award of professional services contract for specialized legal services to Christopher Orlando and the law firm Parker McKay, PA, at the not-to-exceed sum of $5,000.
Motion.
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call, Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing approval of change order number 1, Seaview Avenue intersection improvements to reflect UPS battery backup upgrade at the
Motion.
not-to-exceed sum of $4,945.
Motion.
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call, Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing advertisement of a notice to bidders for the 2024 road resurfacing program.
Motion.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call, Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Lastly is establishing a new bank account with Crest Savings Bank for a disbursement account and authorizing signatories for the account.
Motion?
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Motion that all bills properly authorized as submitted be paid.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded that all bills properly authorized as submitted be paid. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Thanks, Trish.
Sure.
Okay, on the agenda, we have a safety presentation. Mr. Shear, safety coordinator.
I'll keep it short and sweet because it's a great report. Steve Shearer, I'm your safety coordinator. So first thing I'm going to do is announce the meeting schedule for 2024. All meetings to be held at Borough Hall, the adjacent room here, where all the department heads or designee will be assigned to, required to attend. The first meeting is scheduled for March 13th, June 12th, September 11th, December 10th. The March 13th meeting is at 9 a.m. All the preceding meetings are at 10 a.m. Okay, on to a few statistics. As of September of 2023 to date, the accident workers' comp claim reports. It's a great news report. We have only had 3 claims that have been filed to date. It's in those timeframes. That's awesome. All right. Some additional information as the safety program. On December 19th of this past year, we had a safety celebration. I was hosted at the Wildwood Recreation Center. The luncheon was a reward for all safe actions for all borough employees. So we're able to obtain this award in the amount of $2,500. Comes through the JIF and MEL organizations. So if we obtain our goals, we achieve the reward, and we've done so consecutively for at least the last 5-6 years. So let's keep up that great work. Any questions?
Good job.
Good job, Steve.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Don't get shocked on that receptacle.
You can see that.
Okay, that brings us to our first round of public comment. We'll start with anybody here in the audience today. Please come on up to the podium and just give us your name.
Michael Garrick. Just wanted to follow up from the last commissioners' meeting, wondering if there was any consideration being made to put into an ordinance something to keep the view corridor as it is written in the master plan, make it part of the code of the borough so that the planning board can't stray from it going forward.
So I think it's safe to say the master plan does already do that as part of the land use law. The planning board / zoning board, that's their function as to whether or not, after they hear the arguments, to make the decision as to whether or not it benefits or has detriments to the community, and then they vote based on that. So that's the mechanism to go against the municipal ordinance, so to speak. So in this case, from the last meeting, they thought that the benefits did outweigh the detriment, so they approved the plan that you're referencing.
So there's nothing then that the commissioners can do to make sure that it's not violated again in the future?
As far as I know, the answer is no. I'll defer
Well,
to him.
I don't understand the term violated. The mayor just explained what the process is. I think if you want to look at the master plan, it's done periodically. I think it's a 10-year basis, or there's a periodic re-examination of the master plan, at which point the planning board can make recommendations to the governing body to amend the ordinance, the zoning ordinance anyway. Or the governing body could make recommendations to the planning board for changes to the zoning ordinance. So what I guess you would be referring to height restrictions along the beach block in the borough. That's
No,
something
I'm
that-
referring specifically to the view corridor. It has been reviewed each of the times the reviews were done. No changes have been made.
I'm
the
not
gov-
quite sure what's meant by a view corridor. You have a building height limitation in the various districts, and the property owners are allowed to build up to that height. If it blocks a view, it blocks a view.
The view corridor, as it's set up in the master plan, is on the streets. There's a setback from, for lack of a better term, the side streets, not the avenues, that's supposed to be maintained so that there is that view. And it really only applies to the north end of the
Right,
borough.
so as the mayor indicated, that then view corridor is really a side yard or front yard setback, which you're not supposed to build in. Variances can be granted from that restriction, deviation from that restriction, and then you get into the balance of what the mayor describes, the decision process of the planning board or zoning board, whichever it happens to be in front of. So they made a decision, they made the decision. If someone's not happy with that decision, they can appeal that to the Superior Court. If there's enough facts in the records to support the board's decision, then it's sustained by the court. If not, then the court can either overturn it, remand it back for further consideration, or uphold it. Those are the three things that could happen.
Okay. On another topic, the feral cats are getting out of control at the dunes. I know it's something that is supposed to be enforced by the police. It's just a complete nuisance for them. I'm wondering if there any way we can just put a sign at the street ends. That way it will be there too for summer visitors that choose to feed the ever-growing feral cat population. I mean, the last time I checked, Ernest Hemingway doesn't have a place in the dunes, and it's a mess out there now. It's really bad.
I just caught that reference too. First of all, our police don't police that.
Right.
You know, they're not in charge of chasing down cats. We do have a company that works for us that looks after the cats and takes care of the injured animals. I forget the company name. Sure. Thank you.
That's correct.
There's a feral cat program that it's only for spayed, neutered feral cats, and they do make sure that they're neutered. But other cats that are not really feral, that are, a nuisance hanging around, are not under the control of that program. But we will contact animal control and let them know that the population has grown and is becoming a nuisance and see if there's something that they can do.
There's at least two individuals that go out there every single day
cats
and
is
feed them.
Not
Yeah.
legal.
That's correct, but I've confronted them on more than one occasion, and they are under the impression that it is 100% legal that they do that. The code, although I don't agree with the penalties, the violations that are listed, a fine not to exceed $2,000 or imprisonment in a county jail for a period not to exceed 90 days or both. I think that's a little excessive, but if that was posted, it might help.
Yeah, we have a bunch of signs up all over the place and we still have violations. So I'm not sure the signs are the right way to go. Maybe we could put it on our website. Do you have any particular streets that you're seeing the cats on?
It's particularly bad from Lavender to Buttercup in that area, even coming down to Morning Glory, that stretch.
Yeah, I've seen them there too.
They're out of control. I mean, it's just, they are multiplying like you can't believe. And we got to address it. It's bad. So,
Steve
We'll
Serwad,
call, yeah,
see what we can
we'll
do.
take a look
But
at it. okay?
to his point, I will say that I personally, I was running the bike path in the morning, and I saw them, and I said, you can't do that, and they looked at me like I had three heads.
I mean, I've taken pictures of their cars. One of the women parks right at the street end and gets out. Another one just walks the bike path with her bag of food. And it's just, if it's not allowed, it shouldn't continue. It's just going to make the problem keep getting worse. So, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Anybody else? Public comments? Anybody in the conference line have any public comments? First round. Okay, nothing under new business. Old business, workshop meeting internally yesterday. There will be a draft of not only the street opening ordinance, but also one that talks about concrete, flat work, curbing, and gutters. Looking to set up another workshop meeting. Just a quick overview, I think Connie overviewed the meeting yesterday to the governing body, and I think Mr. Galzuna solicited circulated some drafts of that, and we're hoping to meet again next week, and then the goal would be to introduce 2 new ordinances and revisions at the next meeting in March.
Chapter 67 and 68.
Yes, chapter 63 and 67,
And the next meeting is March 27th.
yes. Lot at Rosemary and Seaview, I think we discussed that at the last meeting, just a couple of loose ends we have to tie down and think through. So nothing moving on that at the moment. Concession agreement, that's on hold pending this dune project. Traffic calming, that has already been awarded to an engineer. Back Bay Beach excavation is also subject to the Army Corps DEP dune. Dredging, anything? Constance, Mr. Franco, anybody?
Actually, the latest update is that 90% plans, we expect them to come in August. Right now, we're at 65%. The 95% plans, which are really final because there are always tweaks to a plan on site, so there's never a 100% plan. They should be in by January 1. The project does look like it is going forward in 2025 with the way things are going with acquisition right now. They have about 45% of the title searches done at this time, which means they're actively pursuing and should come to, a screeching halt on that by the January timeframe that they were expecting. So it does look like the Dune project will happen in 2025 at this point.
Okay.
That was the latest update as of yesterday from DEP Coastal Engineering.
And we're still gonna have an opportunity to kind of pull the group
I
together?
did send you an email on that.
Okay.
But we're waiting for you to come up with dates.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm just waiting on your response on that, yep.
Okay,
It may be by Zoom though.
anything else? All right, New Jersey Avenue infrastructure, pre-county. So that's a topic for some capital planning, which I'm gonna meet with Mark after this meeting to discuss some of that stuff. 'Cause I know the county is intending to start in the spring of 2026, which means the infrastructure along New Jersey Avenue, and we just, for the record, had a collapsed sewer line as an emergency repair. So the infrastructure there is in bad shape, so you need to get that on the radar like real soon. Public Works roof is just waiting, that's also waiting for funding. However, we did award for the recreation center roof and the flat roof at the pool to be repaired and replaced sometime in the very near future. We're just waiting for some of the details to get everything signed off on and all the insurance is in place. Baseline outfalls capacity, that's also subject to some additional funding. So we're gonna, again, talk about that very shortly, put the funding in place that we need to get that project out and running, and we're still waiting on anything from Triad on the grant.
We have Triad on one grant and we have Jim Rotella on the other. The application for Triad is in. I'll speak with Rotella this afternoon about the other for Washington.
Okay,
One grant application is complete though.
gotcha.
Mark's been working actively with Triad on that.
Yeah, so Triad has the Bayside, right, and
Yes.
Rotella has the Washington Avenue.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. All right, last round of public comments.
Hello, Catherine Hughes. This was probably done at a different meeting, but I was wondering how much money was collected in fines in 2023 with dumpster coverings? We had a whole big thing over last year. You were going to violate and do fines on anybody who didn't have coverings. Is there a number? Did we collect fines
We can
or?
get that for you. Get back to you.
Okay.
We wouldn't know that off the top of our head.
All right, was
We'll get
anything
back to you.
happen to habitual developers who we had to constantly call on? Were they not allowed to do business, or
Yeah,
were they just
They covered
fined?
their dumpster.
What?
They were covering their dumpsters up.
I called significant amount of times on one specific dumpster over and over again, and was just wondering if anything actually happened to these people, if they were responsible for it.
Code enforcement.
I would have to contact code enforcement to know the,
We can find out. We can
Everything?
get back to you, but we don't have the answer right now. Code
Okay.
enforcement's not here.
okay,
So
any,
I did spoke to the code enforcement officials, and the ones you're referencing, they did go out and speak to the contractors. And they often do this without calls from the public. They go out every morning and they check every construction site. If the construction site is in operation, then the dumpster doesn't have to be covered. It's covered.
I understand that, but what about at nighttime at like 7 PM? Shouldn't
Okay,
they
so
be
if-
checked at that point, or
Well,
no?
you can call the police department.
I
and
do.
see. Okay, and
Sorry.
we'll go over, and then code enforcement will follow up when the contractors are actually there
Okay.
and ensure that they cover them for the evening.
Okay. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Got it. Anybody else, public comments? Anybody on the conference line have public comments? Hearing none, commissioners, you have anything before we close it out?
I'm fine there.
I do. Two things. One, I'd like to congratulate the Wildwood basketball teams on their championship run. Girls are playing tonight. Brian, where are they playing?
Deptford.
So, 5 o'clock at Deptford. Is that gonna be televised by any chance, do you know?
I think NFHS, you have to pay for it.
Okay. So your group is not doing it?
Correct.
So that's one good thing. I'd like to ask Mr. Cripps to come up for a second, and he's got some good news to tell us.
Yeah, the Wildwood Crest Volunteer Fire Company submitted on behalf of the borough governing body as well as the administration, the 2024 American Rescue Plan for Firefighters grant. We received the top money for money, which was $75,000. So we just recently were awarded that through the fire company, and thanks to Connie and Francine, the governing body, and all that were involved in it that helped get that through. So it was an easy grant through SAGE, and Francine's not here, but I know maybe Connie might know they just recently awarded it as of last night. So we did get the highest in the county. There was 6 agencies or 5 agencies within the county that applied for it, and we got the top number.
Awesome.
So,
Great.
Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
You got
Use
it.
that money for?
What's that?
What can we use it for?
Parties.
Oh, the grant
Or
application
uniforms.
specifies what you
Yeah.
are able to use it for, so that was all done when they applied.
Yeah, it was,
So you wanna
for
explain-
personal protective equipment, it's, I guess the basic standard is, it was money left over from the COVID funds.
Gotcha.
So every year they've been submitting it, and putting this out there, so,
PPE.
Turn out
PPE,
good things like that.
so.
Got it.
Thanks again. That's all I have.
The only thing I have is just to remind everybody that we have an event at the Crest Arts Pavilion this Saturday, 2 p.m. Dorothy Kalisic from Sun by the Sea will be speaking to the Crest history. So if you have an opportunity to get over to the Arts Pavilion, don't mind the construction. We are under construction at the moment, so just make sure everybody uses the front entrance on Ocean Avenue. All right, that's all I have for the good of the order. Just entertain a motion to adjourn.
I was second.